Given the backbreaking work that awaited our youngsters, many of our children have cherished any education that they could get. But attending school on a regular basis was always challenging and sometimes impossible.
Called Shiny Eye, and it was up on the hill. Most all the schools down South Carolina look alike then. And at this school, they only had two teachers, and the two teachers lived with us. But they had another later on, Miss Twitty. She married Tom Crawford, and when she married Tom Crawford, later on, then she didn't teach anymore. So they had another teacher came there named Miss McCoy. So Miss McCoy lived with us too, and Miss Focus. Miss McCoy teach from the first, second, third, and fourth grade, and that's in one room. And Miss Focus teach the fifth, sixth, and seventh grade in the next room. So you see, all that work, one teacher was doing a whole school. Two teachers did the whole school. And believe it or not, they did it all right. And we couldn't do nothing wrong at school because, see, the teachers lived with us. And if we did something wrong, the teacher come home and tell our mother. So we'd get two whooping because the teachers whoop you first. And then we'd get a whooping when we come home. But most of the kids around there all knew that everybody could whoop you. You could even be over the next door, over the hill of somebody's house or something like that. And if you did wrong, that neighbor would whoop you.
Most girls went to high school, but most boys didn't.
Oh, really? Okay.
And so that's the reason why that, because most, they were sharecroppers. And the white man told you what to do, and if your boys went to school, you see, they went to elementary school because you could get, they got together with, the white people got together and had the elementary schools to let them go home. When it come time for the pick cotton or whole cotton or business on the farm, they would only go for half a day.
Okay.
See, and that's the way they got by then. But when you went to high school, you couldn't do that because you went on a bus. You see, so that's the reason why most of the boys didn't go no further than that elementary school because they had to stay there and farm.
Oh, okay.
And the only way I got off the farm is old Sam took me, put me in the United States Marine Corps.
Farms.
Yeah, they lived on farms. A lot of them were living on the Ridge Road. Then when we lived over here, most of the people that was over here they went to school down like Mill Creek, but I had finished 7th grade. So when I came over here, I had to stay home for a while. Then Isaac Bigger came out of the service, and he was driving the bus, and I'd walk to the North Carolina state line and catch the bus. And then that's how I got to go to school. Most people didn't get to go to school after they got out of 7th grade because you either had to walk to close. See, we didn't have a bus back when I was going to school. We didn't have no bus. You had to walk. And now Squeaky, she'd walk from over here near Bethel Church to Clover to school. And we moved over here, and then I would walk from here up to the state line. Either walk from here over to the Wilson Road, Sam Wilson Road. And then Isaac, when he came out of service, he said, you know what, I don't care what they say about me. He said, I'll come around and pick you girls up. And Annie and me, we'd be out running in the dark trying to catch the school bus. And then when he graduated and we was out, we didn't have no way to get to school because then they stopped the bus from coming down through here. Odell Armstrong was driving the bus, so he was going to circle around up where the crossroad is. He was going to circle around. He lived up in North Carolina, up there near where the Thomason farm. He lived on the Patrick farm. But he'd come down and then go out the Wilson Road. And we could walk up to the state line and catch the bus. But then, somehow, somewhere, they stopped it because he was coming through South Carolina and all.
And they didn't have any South Carolina high schools?
They had South Carolina High School, but they was in Clover. And you'd have to walk to Clover. You had no bus. And that's just the way it was. If you lived in South Carolina, you either walked to Clover Oh, you didn't go to school? Mm-hmm. That's the way it was.
Now, did your parents make you keep going to high school, or is it something?
No, that's what I wanted to do. That's what I
Even with
wanted
all
to
the
do.
walking.
Yeah, all the walking. And Annie and I would run, and we'd run together, and we'd be in the dark, and sometimes we'd be scared. Kept trying to catch the bus and get there by that bus would come through like 6:30 in the morning, and it's dark at 6:30 in the morning, and we'd be out there running in the dark and trying to catch the bus. And if we'd get there too late, and sometimes we'd see the bus gone. It was hard. It's hard. I'm telling you, when my oldest son, first day he went to school, he got on a school bus. And they would be taking their times walking to the bus. And honey, I'd just be wanting to pick them up and just shake them real good. You don't know how blessed you are. I never was able to ride a school bus in South Carolina to school. I always had to walk. And the first year that he went to school, he was able to get on the school. And the white children would be on the bus, and they'd come along and they'd throw out spitballs and say bad things, and we'd be walking in the hot sun. We had to go to school like January, February, March. April, we had to stop and go to the field. And then when you worked the field, like in June and August, July and August, you had to walk to school during the summer while it was real hot. And then when the end of August, like September, you'd be back in the field picking cotton. And you didn't get to go back to school no more until like October, November, when you finish picking your cotton when it's so cold. You'd walk through the pastures and the frost would be up this high. You don't see that now. I don't guess you do. But anyway, we'd walk through the pasture and you could just hear the scrunk, 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 scrunk. This awful. Get to school and it'd be so cold. So cold. Mr. Gilmore, he was our principal. He done got there and he'd make a fire. Sometime he'd be late and he wouldn't be there and get the school warmed up. Lord, children be crying and hurting and wouldn't get nothing done that day. It'd be about 12 o'clock before we could get in things, get them warmed up. Little hands would be cold and he'd be working with them children. Lord, he was a wonderful person with those children, and they would be hurt. And if you don't have decent clothes, I could understand my daddy saying he wasn't working for nothing and he wasn't going to do that, because a lot of those people that worked, they had large families. And those children didn't have the proper clothes that they needed to wear to school, and then had to get out there and walk. It was pitiful. You really, I never will forget that. It was pitiful. And they'd be so cold. And all. But I just thank God I just been truly blessed. I've been blessed. Yep, that was it. Back then it was terrible. Walking in the cold. Either walking when it was too hot to be out there.